Good morning, afternoon, evening from wherever you are listening. Welcome back to the Breakevens podcast. My name is Corey, and as always, with me is Jack.
Hello.
Jack, round 8 is over, and I feel like our teams are starting to take shape. We're starting to get those primos in, starting to drop those rookies that are starting to hit that rookie wall. So hopefully we can see some big scores from us in the next few weeks. As always, thank you all for your ongoing support. Um, we did do something new, so every Tuesday we're going to put a post up, and that's just for you guys to put in your trade thoughts, what you're thinking of doing, and if we can get a whole bunch of people on there giving different opinions, that would be great. So hit us up, Breakevens Twitter at Breakevens Pod. And every Tuesday that will be going up now. And also we're on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, that as well. Just search the Breakevens on both platforms. So in today's podcast, we're just going to do the same old, same old. We're going to review the last round's games, give the hot and colds, and the very important break evens at this stage, especially we're looking at those primos. And at the start, we'll go through our teams, how we're ranking, what our trade plans are, and I'll give the VC and C options for the round. So, Jack, how did you go?
Good question. I didn't do as good as last week.
Yep.
2,191. But I jumped in the season rankings by another 479 spots.
Nice. Progress.
Exactly. It was a weird one because last week I had two people that dropped 150 plus. They both don't get over 90 this week.
Yeah.
Stuart and Josh Kelly. But you also had people like Steele I think his worst game for the season with a 75.
Worst game for a few seasons.
Yeah, Cornelio 70, Dunkley and Trelaw those 70s as well.
Yep.
And Butters, I'm calling him Butters from South Park because he's bloody useless. But I've used my third trade boost this week.
Ooh.
Just trying to remember, it was Roses and Connor McDonald down.
Yep.
To Hamilton and Maurice. Roses has a 50 break even, and I can't see him hitting that, so I jumped ship while I could.
Yep.
And then my booster trade, or whatever we call it, was Patrick Naish, the man, the myth, the legend, up to Paddy Cripps. Now,
Yeah, nice.
I would like to apologise to everyone who owns him, because every year I have Cripps on my side. He doesn't score above 80, and then I trade him out. Then he gets hundreds again. So I don't think he's scoring high for the rest of the season. Sorry, fellas.
Nice. So I did roughly the same as last week. So I scored 2,255, which was a rank change of 3,814. So I'm now ranked 25,608. But from not this week, the week after, I can see my rank changing for the good in a big way, because I'm going to do some big trades. So I missed out on McRae as captain. Two bad games I should have known. But I had the captain on Lockie Neal, who's 123. So I'll take that. And looking at my squad from last week, I only missed out on 27 points to the bench. And what that was is I had a Driscoll on field and McComb on the bench. and also Adam Roses on field. And I had Paul Curtis on the bench. So I only lost 27 points. So I'm pretty happy with how my team went. The annoying thing is I'm still holding Tim English and George Hewitt, who are both out for this week.
Is Hewitt confirmed?
Basically, yeah. English is over his hammy, which is good, but he's been hit with the flu. So he'll be back next week. And Hewitt, it's just that corky, it's still lingering, so he should be in another week as well. Trades for me this week, just doing the two. Hugh Dixon went on the nightclub scene, got dropped, so I'm dropping him. And I'm dropping Connor
Don't like
McDonald.
him partying, do you?
Nah, especially when you're being dropped, even though your team has no players. And I'm getting rid of Connor McDonald. And they're both going to Maurice Rioli. And I know I'm 250k too late, but I've jumped on Will Brodie because I think he's going to be a keeper.
Well, yeah, I jumped on very late with Cripps as well.
Yeah. So I'll quickly go over the V, C, and C options right now. So the first one I've got is Jackson McRae. Plays on the Friday night, so the first game against the Mighty Pies. Averages 107 against Collingwood, but I think this season, I think he has a chance to go bigger than what that average says. And the reason that it's at Marvel, where he always goes big on, I think he could be a sneaky VC option. And I wouldn't hate anyone for Don McRae because he's a known scorer. And the Collingwood midfield always leaks points. Next, Clary Oliver. Funny enough, only averages 104 against West Coast, but that's a full-sided West Coast. This is a waffle-sided West Coast. And they're the last game of the round on the Sunday. So Clary only averages 104, but I think he could go absolutely huge this week.
He could be on Paddy Nash to go.
It could be. So I think Clary is a great option there if you wanted to change it up. Next, Took Miller only averages 109 versus Freo. They're the first game on the Sunday, so it's a captain option. I just think Took is better than what that average says. I don't know if it's a tag over the last few years that he's been beaten on or not. But I think 109 for Took, I think that's way too low. So he's a good cheeky captain. But I'd probably go Clary if you have him over Took there. Next, Jack, you'll enjoy this. Josh Kelly averages 119 versus Carlton. They played the second game on Sunday. So he'll be a captain option. 119 versus Carlton. Do I think he can get it? He definitely could.
I mean, it just depends how he kicks the ball. One week he scores 153. The next week he has similar touches and he scores 85.
Yeah. So if you have either Took or Clary, I'd probably go them over Kelly. But
Unless you risk.
Yeah, but 119 there, very tasty looking. Next, you also like this, but for a different reason, Jack. Jaden Short versus Hawthorn averages 121, and they're the first game on Saturday. We usually don't go for captains in defence, but Jaden Short averages 121 against Hawthorn playing in defence. Where
You'll be playing full-time mid.
The last 2 weeks he's been playing in the midfield, so Short could be a cheeky VC option there if you didn't want to go McRae. Next, Luke Parker averages 123 against Essendon, which I found interesting. They play Saturday night, so you'd think that would be probably a captain option, just with the games. But there's someone else that plays Saturday night that I'll get to in a second. So Luke Parker 123 versus the Bombers. Next is that man in Lachie Neale versus Adelaide, playing Saturday night, averages 135 against the Adelaide Crows.
And that's a good Adelaide Crows.
So I don't know about you, Jack, but I've got my VC on Lachie Neale at the moment.
Yeah, no, I do too. I've got my vice.
Very good. And the last one is a real smoky, but this sounds and tastes really good. For those who have Travis Boak, the second game on Saturday, playing the Kangaroos, averages 146 in his last 3 games. So all these VCC options are all last 3 games where they played, and Boak averages 146. Enough said.
Well, it's quite funny. In my trade, I was looking at either Boak or Cripps, and I'm like, do I go risky with Boak or do I go to safe option with Cripps? And I went the safe option with Cripps. Bloody Cripps. Watch Boak outscore Cripps this week as well.
So I've also looked at everyone else who is a big name, like Steele, Gorn, Brayshaw.
Which?
I haven't looked at Witts because he's been out for so long. But they all average 100 against the people they're playing, and that goes for Mills as well, and Heaney. So that's VC and C options. My VC and C is Neale into Clary at the moment. What are yours looking at, Jack?
Exactly the same.
There you go.
And no, I did not ask you who to go.
All right. Well, I'll quickly go through the break-evens side, and then we'll go into the hot and colds and the games for the round. So the break-evens team scored 2,201. We had
goals for lost this week.
Yeah, we had Stewart and Sinclair in our defence stink it up. And unfortunately, we had the emergency on O'Driscoll and not Paddy McCartan, who scored 94. And just like me, we had Roses on field, which was an absolute stinker. So the break-even side is now ranked 43,541st. So we've basically gone half of the places we were round 1. So after round 1, we'll ranked about 80,000th, and now we've crawled back to 40th. Trades this week, we're getting rid of Jack's boy Paddy Nash and the Cherry Bomb for Maurice and Paddy Cripps.
Come on, Maurice.
So with those trades, that means for the break-evens, we only need 2 more forwards, 1 more mid, and a ruckman to have a full primo squad. So we're looking pretty good coming into the buys. So that's all I had for the intro part there. So Jack, you had round 1?
I did.
Game 1, sorry. All right.
Port versus the Doggies.
That's them. Off you go.
Port won by 17. The Doggies again very inaccurate. Looks like that's just their season. I don't think they're gonna make the 8 because they've just been consistently inaccurate. Into the hots, Travis Boak, the man you were just talking about, 149, just a casual 149. Todd Marshall, 130,
Played
big
well.
fella. He's had, I think, 2 in the last 3 games or last 4 games where he's gone massive. It's quite interesting. Key forwards are back. And Ollie Wines, 104. The funny thing with Wines and what I found out is halfway through first half of last season as well, he was always around that 90s, low hundreds. But the second half of the season, he averaged like 120 or 130 just off the second half of the season alone. And his last 3 rounds was 150 plus. So if you have Wines, I wouldn't get rid of him. Especially his end of season form. He's someone I'm looking at in my last midfield spot as a pod because I know how explosive he is towards the end of the season. With the doggies, your usual Jackson McRae with 144. Well, I told you, it's either 130 plus or 90. There's no in between with the man. Then we got your mate, the astronaut, with 124.
The Colin medalist.
Not at the moment.
Nah, not later.
We got Libba with 107. And Bailey Dale with 103.
Yep.
With the colds, we got Butters from South Park with 52. Dunkley, 78. It looks like he didn't play midfield for the game.
Yeah. Yeah, don't know what was happening there. Probably because McRae played more in the fourth quarter there. It's probably
it. And Trelaw, another game where he has good good amount of touches, and then he just handballs them all and gets a 74. And then Cody Waitman, Vandermeer, and O'Brien were all injured.
Waitman's out for a while. I know that. It was a shoulder.
Yeah, he was in a sling or something like that.
Yeah.
Getting into the break-evens, we got Dan Houston at 119 for anyone who's looking at him for the defense. Ollie Wines, the man I'm massive on, with a 91. Sam Hayes, -5. He's put another big performance in for people who got him in.
Did you put him in the hots for his 98?
I did not, because he's
robbed him.
He's averaging like 90.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's a rookie.
Yeah, so it's Maurice. Trav Boak, 107. Yeah, no, look, he's getting that. Butters, 105. He's about to drop half. What's he at now? 421k. He's about to beat 210k.
Nah, mate. He's played the ruse.
Doesn't matter. It's Butters. Jackson McRae, 135. If he plays full mid, he gets that. If he goes into the forward line, he doesn't, and he has another 90.
Yep.
Dunkley, 133. I don't think he gets that, but he should be in and around it. Same with Libba, who's got 123. And then last, but definitely not least, Mr. Robbie McComb with -47.
Yep. Nice. So a few things on those teams. As I said, Porter playing Kangas. So Butters could be in for a big score here. So people are contemplating trading him, which is fair enough. But I think he can go 130 plus this week.
6,900 people traded Butters out this week.
Yeah. So it's definitely something I've been looking at, but my priority is get the rookies off the field first and then fix up those primos like Whitfield and Butters.
I mean, Whitfield might be a decent one now. He's putting up good scores.
Yes, but still hasn't hit the ton. And on the Bulldogs side of things, Jack, I don't know if you saw this, but Bontempelli's back this week.
Did he not play last week?
No, he was out last
He
week.
kicked the goal, did he?
No,
Or was that a couple of weeks ago?
Couple of weeks ago. At the moment, he's scored 759 points at an average of 108.4. From round 6 to this round, he spent 63% time in the midfield. Now, if you do the math, that is 37% time in the forward line, which we know after round 11, if he finishes 35% or higher in the forward line, he will get forward DPP. So as it stands, the Bont could be a forward, which means he would rank 9th currently in the forward line. And I think he's got a high break even, so he might lose some cash. So really, our forward lines could be Dunkley, English, Bont, Treloar, Libba, and Bailey Smith. We could have 6 Bulldogs in the top 10 averaging players, which is absolutely nuts. So keep an eye out for Bont and how much time forward, because that could be some of that Butters could go up to, because a few people are probably trying to get in Luke Parker and Heaney and stuff at the moment. So your last forward could be the Bont himself. So keep an eye on that. And obviously, if any news closer to those DPP changes, we'll be all over it. So we'll let you know there. That was it for that game, Jack, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. So I had Freo versus the Roos. Freo won by 78. Surprising.
It's the best game North Melbourne's played all year. Only 78.
They beat Hawthorn, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Nah. Was it Saints?
Nah. I think they did beat someone. I don't know who.
Yeah, they've beaten someone anyway. Because the 17th, I'm pretty sure. All right. So the Hots, Shrek Darcy, 178. Absolutely dominated. I don't know if you watched that game or not, Jack, but he absolutely dominated. Heath Chapman,
I watched it on Fan Footy.
Yeah. Heath Chapman, 136. Hamish's brother, Andrew, 134. Caleb Sarong, 117. The Breakout King's back.
The Breakout. He's up. He's woken. He's arisen.
Will Brody, 115. Old Man Mundy, 111. And Michael Walters scored 96. So I had to put him in.
My boy. Get around him.
As we move over
How great option.
As we move over to the Kangaroos, there's one name here, and that's Todd Goldstein, who's 142. As we move on to the Colts, for Freo, Luke Ryan, 75. And for Freo, Neil Erasmus, 21. I think he was sub, wasn't he?
I'm not too sure, but can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
You just mentioned one name for North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Todd Goldstein.
Yeah.
He's another forward DPP player, and with Cherry out, he's got that number 1 ruck back, so his points are going to jump like it did this week.
Yeah.
So he's an interesting one to also think about in your forward line.
The only thing with that is Cherry could be back in 2 weeks. So Goldstein's scoring potential all depends on what they do with Cherry. And if Cherry's playing, then I reckon he's still number 1 ruck. So just keep an eye on that.
If Cherry plays, he's number 1 ruck. If Cherry doesn't, Goldstein is, and Goldstein looks delicious.
Yes. And so for North Melbourne, the Colds, Jai Simpkins, 62, Hugh Greenwood, 51, Paul Curtis, 35, Jack Zeeble, 31, Curtis Taylor, 28, and Jed Anderson, 23. As we move on to the break evens for Freo, Neil Erasmus, 20, Nathan O'Driscoll, 55, Heath Chapman, 60, Sean Shrek Darcy, 75, Will Brody, 82, Hamish's brother Andrew, 122, and Luke Ryan, 135. You'd say everyone probably gets that except for Luke Ryan. As we move over to the Kangas, Paul Curtis, -3, Tom Goldstein, -1, Horn Francis, 59. And for those still with Horn Francis, he did not train with the main group today. He was off doing light duties, so keep an eye on that. And
Could that be with the outcome that he said earlier in the week about not signing a contract extension and not being happy?
No, I'm guessing he's got some sort of niggle, but it was interesting to see that he's put trade talks on hold. And Luke McDonald, 69. All right, Jack, do you want to go through the next game being Richmond versus Collingwood?
Yeah, so the best game in the round. The Tigers won by 27. Honestly, should have been a lot more. Especially that first half. I'm pretty sure the first half, every Collingwood goal was off a Richmond turnover in the back half. I'm going to start with the colds. I'm not going to go to hots first.
Okay.
So I've got cold in capitals, the Collingwood Football Club. No, I'm joking. With the hots, Tom Lynch backed it up, 184 in the first half. Then Richmond didn't kick it to him.
Yeah, Darcy Moore just decided he wanted to do a Jack Madgen and guard the grass.
Oh, so did Jeremy Howe. They were both standing 40 metres in front of their bloody forwards, and that's why Jack Rewell kicked like 3 or 4 goals in the second half.
Yep.
Nank the Tank, 121. Noah Bolter went back and scored 111.
Yeah, he was really good.
The intercept king that I think was someone on Fox Footy that called him somewhat in the second quarter. Jaden Short, 109. Could have been a lot more, but he kept kicking it to grass. And by saying that, he kicked it down, not up.
No, if it was kicking it to grass, then Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howell might have got to
it. Jack Graham, 30 touches, had a big run in the midfield, 103. I don't see that backing up because Prestia is back in this week after his illness. Same with Vloshton, who also missed. Shy Bolton, 101. I feel like that's a bit stiff. He was the X factor. He did everything for the Tigers. For the Collingwood side, Jack Crisp, 121. He was the only one who did anything for him, really. Especially at ground level, he was the one that was just picking the ball up and running, which showed with his goal in the last quarter. And the last one, Darcy Cameron, 108. He is loving that number 1 ruck spot.
Yep.
He's telling Grundy to piss off. Colds, Mansell got suspended, but Ginnivan deserved it. I put Dusty in with an 83. It was great that he was back. He was robbed of a goal. But 83, if we're looking for him in the forward line, especially now with the DPP and the scores we're seeing, that needs to be at least 100, 105. But he's someone to look into when he gets into games more game fitness into him. That is his first game in like 8 rounds, 7 rounds or something like that. Collingwood, I just found it funny, so I put Trent Bianco in. He played the whole game and got 13.
Did well, did
which,
well.
which, to be honest, I didn't realize he played. Like, I don't remember his name being called for a whole game.
Well, he only scored 13. That's why.
Yeah. Maynard had a 53, and the GOAT, as most delusional Collingwood fans call him, scored a 74. Oh yeah, okay. So break even. Sorry, I got confused. I've got Aiden Begg, and I was like, who the fuck is that guy? For some reason, I was like, is this the wrong game? He's got a minus 46. So if you don't have Hayes, I'd jump on him at, I think it's 117k or 102k.
Yeah,
ruck on your
less
bench. He's got the job security with Grundy out for 12 weeks still. Good money maker. Jack Crisp, 104. You think he gets that? He's showing some consistent scores now. Nick Dacos, 68. Scott Pendlebury, 106. Dusty's got 103. That was his second game. Jaden Short, 66. Josh Gibkiss for the owners, but Josh Gibkiss, that's scary signs with the 46, but he'll get that, and hopefully he can have another big score to make his more money.
Yep.
And the last one, an interesting stat for you. Tom Lynch has the best break even for any primo in the league. He's got a minus 64 as a 491k forward.
Jesus.
So it is an interesting one. I've seen a lot of people say that they're sideways trading to Lynch this week, and then letting him make money, and then go if his performances drop a bit, which everyone expects they will. You can get a top end forward, even a Bont, when he gets changed for a Tom Lynch, which no one was expecting.
Yeah. And that's it for that game?
Yes.
Good, because I don't want to talk about Collingwood losing. All right, so I'll move on to the Swans versus Suns. The Suns won. The Suns won by 14. The Hots for the Swannies. Jake Lloyd turned up 116. Could we start to see a resurgence? Who knows? The Lizard, Nick Blakey, 116 also. Chad Warner, 105. If he was a forward option, he'd be a great selection. He's averaging around that 100, 103. And Paddy McCartan came back after his concussion and scored a 94. So a bit more cash there. As we move to the Suns, the Hots, Jared Witts, 132, just keeps chugging along. David Swallow, 123, surprising there. Took 122. Braden Firiini, 106. Charlie Ballard, 105. And Connor Buderick, 102. So a few surprising ones there. As we move to the Colds, for the Swans, Luke Parker, I've put 89. He's been averaging 150 the last few weeks. Isaac Heaney, 75. Callum Mills, 60. I've put Tom Papley again with a 46 and Lance Franklin with a 37. Three names there that you wouldn't necessarily think would be in a cold in Parker, Heaney, and Mills there. And
is this the downfall for Heaney?
Possibly. He's still top 10 averaging forward. I'm pretty sure he's like 6th or something. But
yeah, the last 2 weeks have been an 80 and now a 70.
Yeah, so hopefully
he usually does this.
Yeah. Hopefully there isn't an injury, and hopefully he gets back to averaging high. But if you can drop some cash, that would be nice to make it a bit easier to get him in. And for Gold Coast, Malcolm Roses, who I had on field, scored a solid 18. As we move into the break evens, Paddy McCartan, 32. So he's got a bit more cash there now. Luke Parker, 73. Jake Lloyd, 85. Isaac Heaney, 120. Peter Laddams, 150, Jack.
Jesus.
And Callum
Get around
Mills.
Prusy.
Callum Mills, 201.
Tops McRae last week.
As we move over to Gold Coast, Malcolm Roses, 50, so not great, but a couple 60s and 70s there, and that drops. Matt Rowell, 68, Tuk Miller, 73, and Jared Witts, 79. That's all I had for that game. So, Jack, I believe you had the next game, which was...
I did.
Giants
Geelong. Geelong won by 53, which to me was a shock.
Yep.
I thought it would be a closer game. I stupidly realised I tipped the Giants. I wrote the wrong team down, so I've had to take the L on that one. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Geelong's going to win, but it's going to be a close one. And then on the tipping thing, it had me with Giants.
Oh, no.
I've had a brain fade. But getting into the hots for the Giants, we've got Isaac Cumming, 128, and Braden Pruce, 103. For Geelong, Mitch Duncan and Tyson Stengel both scored 116. Is this Duncan going to stay? Is he going to be consistent?
No chance.
I mean, he'll do a calf in a couple of weeks, but he'll probably score out in a couple of weeks. Mark Blitzar's 111. Loved that number one ruck roll, apparently.
Yeah.
Because Rich Stanley was a laid out. He got chucked under the bus and he played very well. Now, a surprising one here, Jake Koladashnij. He scored 107. He's 999 goals away from the 1,000th club. Geelong is still going on about from round one.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cameron, 106.
Time for
And then Zach Guthrie and Zach Tui both got 100. Going to the Colds, Kelly, like I said earlier, 85, but had the touches for another 110 plus. I must have just been a bit inaccurate again this week, unlike last week.
Robert.
Hi, Robert.
I know what the fuck's going
on. Cornelio, 70. Played mainly forward, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Toby Green, 56. Not what we like to see after a big week last week. Cam Guthrie, 87. He's not relevant, but I just had to put him in there just to mock him because his younger brother, who's a spud, scored higher than him. Tom Hawkins, 75. Tom Stewart, like we said earlier, 74. It was quite a shocking one and surprising one. And then Jed Buse injured. I'm pretty sure he got concussed in like the first minute. So that was unfortunate for him, but pretty funny when I saw his Supercoach score was 2.
Hey, good runner.
Going into the break-evens, we got Big Boy Prusy with a 32. Hamilton played his second game, negative 63. I personally think he's a better option than Carroll for job security reasons.
Yep.
Even though Carroll does have the better price. Break-even, sorry, not price, break-even.
What about Maurice?
I mean, we all love Maurice. Finn Callahan, 48. If you jumped on him, that's not great. It's a bit like Roses. He's up, down. Very risky from here. Canelio, 86. I think he bounces back, gets that, but it doesn't matter. He's a forward to keep, especially after buys. He's maybe someone who, if he keeps this up, he trade late, primo for primo. But I think it was like another 6,000 people trading him out this week, and I just laughed.
Yeah.
Same with Nick Dacos. I forgot to say, a lot of people jumped off him this week as well.
Yeah, could be an out this week, Dacos, for his rest.
Well, let's hope not, because then I've got 2 defenders not playing and only one that can come on. Patrick Dangerfield with a break even of 98. I didn't watch the game. I don't know where he played, but there was been gone around that he was playing forward. So he could be someone like the Bond. I don't think he's played there as much as the Bond, but apparently he spent more time down there. De Koning, the man, the myth, the legend, with a 6. He's done a Gibcus and he's had 2 big scores in a row, and he's brought his price gen back. So we love him for it, especially I had to field him the last 2 weeks, and he's done me well there. So you're a legend, mate. And then Tommy Stewart, a 94. Look, I think everyone thinks he's going to bounce back with a score and top that. And that's all I had for Geelong Giants.
Awesome. All right, so I had the Bombers versus the Hawks. I don't know what Hawthorn did in that last quarter, but I'm glad I tipped the Bombers this week.
They've done it the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
The Hawks. They've been great for 3 quarters, and then they just go, here's the win. We've done enough.
Yep. So the Bombers won by 27. So the Hots, Darcy Parish, 139. 2 meter Peter, 113. Nick Hind, 112. Dyson Heppel, 111. He's been having some better games as of late. Zach Merritt, 108. Sammy Draper, the big Mull, at 108. Fuck you, Ben Hobbs, 93. And I've put Kane Baldwin here, Jack, because he scored a big 60.
Jeez, get around the big fella. His price gen must have rebounded.
So for those who are like, Corey, why'd you just tell Ben Hobbs to fuck off? It's because I had him for 2 weeks. He scored a 30 and a 13. And I traded him, and he scores 93, and now his cash gen is restarting. So fuck him. As we move over to the Hawks.
Bit like me and Alex Davies.
Yep. As we move over to the Hawks, James Sicily, 132. He's looking like one of the best options in defense.
Could be the best, to be honest.
Well, if you had him from the start, could be best value-wise for sure. Jack Scrimshaw, 109. Jaeger O'Meara, 108. Jai Newcomb, 102. And Big Max Lynch, Jack, you were tearing him up last week. He turned up with a big 100.
Did he actually?
Yep.
Big fella. Oh, love to hate him.
As we move over to the Colds, Andy McGrath, he scored 75, and Dylan Shields scored a 60. Did go off with an injury, but came back on. And for Hawthorn, there's only one cold man here, and Jack, your argument against Bond and this guy, I don't think you ever let the stand on anymore. Tom Mitchell scored 40.
That's what we want. That's 40 more than the Bond this week.
Yeah, still, I would have taken the Bond because he didn't drop any cash.
He's just doing it so he can trade him in.
So now we move over to the break evens. Jack, Kane Baldwin has reset his cash gen, -12.
I was saying it as a joke.
Hobbs 1. Zach Reed has played 2 games. A defender, I think he's won 80 odd K defender.
Does he stay in?
I think he does.
Because they got Ridley and a couple others to come back from
Yeah.
flu.
Zerk Thatcher was a late in, so Reed had that spot over Zerk Thatcher.
You didn't mention it. Zerk Thatcher did his ACL in the first minute and he played on.
He did. So yeah, Zach Reed 1. Someone to look out for. Not much value there because he's a key defender. Nick Martin has a break even of 30. Ridley's coming back, so 82 there. Heppel 87. Darcy Parish 108 and Zach Barrett 143. You'd think everyone should get those break evens except for possibly Merritt. As we move over to Hawthorn, Big Boy Lynch, negative 16 break even.
Get him in.
I believe it's Jack Callow, could be Jake Callow. It's definitely one of them. Has played 2 games for Hawthorn now. He's a forward, break even of 6. I wouldn't go near him, to be honest. Connor McDonald 21. So there's still some money there, but if you're like me, and if it's in the best interest for your team, I trade now. Josh Ward,
I did as well.
Josh Ward 46. Not much more money to be made there, so I jump off this week as well. James Sicily 84 will make money, and Tom Mitchell 189. He might get the first 2 digits in 18 there, but I don't see him doing anything else.
He's playing the Tigers. He's getting 250.
And that's it for that game. So, Jack, you take it away with Brisbane versus West Coast.
So, yeah, Brizzy won by 75. Was that how much off Melbourne?
North Melbourne was 78.
The Eagles did better this week. Quite disappointing, if I do say so myself. Going straight into the hots. Hugh McCluggage, 154. I'm not gonna lie, he's another one who's looking tasty at that last midfield spot for me. He's averaging like 111 or something like that.
Jack, at the moment, I score 154, played West Coast.
Well, yeah, no, you don't. Zorko and Neil both scored 123. Funny enough, I had Neil captain over Took, and he scored 1 more point, so that was a big fist pump moment.
So did I. I was pretty happy about it.
Because I was contemplating taking Took's 122 with what happened last week with Clary and McRae, but I didn't, and it worked out by 1. Then Rich, 117. He's starting to warm up, it feels like. And a surprising one for Brizzy, is it Noah Answorth?
Yeah.
He got the ton with 100. Going over to the Weagles, or the Weagles, we're going to call them, because they don't know what a win is at the moment, so we'll back them in. Shannon Hearn, 129. Is it because the Eagles suck that he's back to that 2016, 2017 form, or has he got a second wind?
Because they're shit and the ball's down there more, but I think Witherden was out, and I'm not sure how McGovern was going, but yeah, they just don't have the defense, so someone has to get the ball.
Because McGovern's my next one with 107, but the two of them are scoring high hundreds consistently. Are they a situation where if you need a pod defender, do you go with Shannon Hearn? Or do you think their form will drop?
They're both roller coasters, and Shannon Hearn will pick a calf soon, so yeah.
He'll just do a calf.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's got to be a calf.
Yeah.
And then the last two hots for West Coast, both Blue Moons, Jermaine Jones and Florenka on debut,
Played
both
well.
scored 102. I'm
Yep.
not sure if Florenka is a
Waffle.
pickup player.
He's a waffle.
He is. Well, if he keeps going like that, I think he might be the next Jack Hayes, and he will find himself on the Weagles list.
Yeah. There's a chance he can go mid-season draft if he keeps it up.
Well, look out for that because a big 102 in game one, that's going to be a tasty break even. Getting into the colds, Daniel McStay got injured. Couldn't tell you what it is, but it looks like Brisbane's run out of key forwards.
It was a knee, and Hipwood's back this week.
Hipwood's back this week. Well, he's got to run the show because you got Danaher and McStay out. Kitty Coleman, 47. A lot of people, you included, were telling me go Coleman over Rioli. Rioli's the joke. Coleman's the real deal. I don't think Coleman scored 60 yet.
I'm just glad I didn't go either of them, to be honest.
Jared Lyons, 77. It looks like that's his normal now, but like his price and what we expect, that's very low.
Yep.
And then Jared Berry, 65. Going over to the Weagles. Connor West got injured. I'm not sure if people jumped on him or not, but he's injured. I don't know what with. And Patty Nash got a 46. I told him all he needed was a 70 to keep his money, and he had like an 84 Dream Team score for a 46 Supercoach score. So fuck you, Patty Nash. Going into the break-evens, Daniel Rich, 95. Dane Zorko, 62. Lockie Neal, 57. And going to the West Coast Eagles, Jamison played his second game.
Yep.
Again, I don't know if he's a pickup or if he's actually listed, but he's got a minus 27.
I'd probably stay away anyway, to be honest.
And I think it's Winder played his second game as well, and he's got a 9.
Yep.
That is all for that game.
That's all awesome. So I'll move over to the Demons versus the Saints. The Demons won by 38 points. Jack Bowie's still going on the winning streaks, still hasn't lost a game. So the hots for the Demons, Clary Oliver, 135. Ed Langdon, someone that you like on that wing spot, Jack, 126.
I do.
Marlon Pickett, 110. Hamish's other brother, Angus, 106. Petrarca, also 106. And James Harbs, 102. And for the Saints, Dougal Howard, 124. Cal Wilkie, 117. And Brad Crouch, 111. As we move over to the Colds, I've got here Max Gawn, 82. There was rumours he could be out this week with a knee injury. Because he hurt it in the second quarter, but they've come out and said that Max is playing.
Damn
it. Stephen May, 72. I've put him there because he's averaging 100 at the moment. Luke Jackson, 55. Bowie, 49. And Bailey Fritsch, Jax Coleman medalist, 33. For the Saints, Jack Sinclair, 83. He's starting to look like he's
that's two 80s in a row.
Yeah, and I think with Seb Ross coming back, he sort of lost a bit of his role. Rowan Marshall, 81. as Jack said at the start, Jack Steele 75 and Jade Gresham 55. As we move into the break evens, Petrarca 89. Time to jump on him if you want him for your last spot. Jack Bowie 116. You've got to jump ship right now. Luke Jackson 121. Clary Oliver 132. Max Gorn 136. And Stephen May 146. As we move over to the Saints, Wagonine Miller 21. Windhager 39. So if you had those two, it's time to jump again. Rowan Marshall 109. Jade Gresham 110. Probably time to get rid of Gresham. Sinclair 147. So he's going to start dropping some cash. And Jack Steele 175. Probably doesn't get that. And we'll drop some more dosh. And that's all I had. So Jack, you take the last game, which was Carlton versus Adelaide.
Yeah, it was Carlton versus the Crom, and Carlton won by 48. Starting off, the man, I think everyone who didn't start has brought him in. Paddy Cripps, 151. It's fucked. His season, it's crazy. No one saw it coming. Everyone thought he would jump. No one thought he'd be averaging 125.6 that he is, and that's because he had that injury where he scored 30 or something like that because he was subbed out.
Yep.
Without that, he's averaging like 140, to be honest. The second name, I would like to apologise. Charlie Curnow, the last 3-4 weeks, has been scoring huge scores. He's dropped to 149. So if you kept him or brought him in, if you stupidly brought him in after those scores, well done, because his price gen is crazy.
It's not stupidly brought him in. If you brought him in after those 2 to 3 scores, you're a fucking genius.
Well, yes, you're a genius, but it was a massive, risky, I love it, stupid thing, especially if you look at the scores, it was like 30s, I think he was getting.
Yeah.
Sam Doherty turned up. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he was in those 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
He's back up to 115. Adam Chera is loving George Hewitt out of the side. He's turned up for a second week in a row with 114. Moving over to the Crom, Jordan Dawson's had his one fantastic game of the season. He scored 134. Rory Laird, 123. He just keeps doing Rory Laird things. Like, there's nothing else to put it. Even as a midfielder now, I think everyone has to look at him as a genuine starter.
He's in 1% of teams at the moment.
Which is crazy because he's scoring consistently.
Yeah.
Tex Walker starting his early season form. Season again, 104. And then my guy, Ben Keys, another 100. He's dropped a bit in scores the last few weeks, but he's still turning up. That just shows how good he is. Going over to the Colds, Jack Martin, was it a hammy again?
I didn't see it.
It was a soft tissue in his leg. That's all I remember, which is what he's always had. He's problems with injury, so that's not a good sign for him and the Blues. Adam Sard, I was talking him up last week, saying he's only had like 2 scores under 100 or like 90 and 80. Yeah, he's done a Tom Mitchell and gone, yeah, fuck you. I'm scoring 63 this week. Sam Walsh, 89. Was he tagged? I didn't watch the game so. Much about it. Was it just a poor display on his end?
Yeah, his big scores will come after the buys.
Yeah, like I say, poor game, but because it's an 89 for decent score, it's just we expect that 110 from him. So he probably played well in terms of the game, which is super coach. It was the poor game.
Yeah.
Lachlan Murphy injured. I don't know why anyone would have Lachlan Murphy in. It's not a massive one, but he's injured, so it's cold. Mitch Hinge back for after like a 5-week hiatus. Scored 54, and then Riley O'Brien 62. Moving into the break-evens, we got Ben Keys with 138. I can't see him going that big, but expect another 100 to 115 score from him. And he's another one on that M8 spot that I'm contemplating through at the moment. And so that break-even I'm loving because just getting for cheap. Dawson 75, he should get that, but it's Dawson. He could drop to 50 this week. Mitch Hinge 71, if you didn't trade him when he got his injury or whatever it was, trade him now. I'd be surprised if you kept him, to be honest. And Rory Laird 128. Look, I'm going to back him to get it. I reckon he will. Going over to the Blues, Adam Sard, 105. Going through his season, he could get that, but he could also stink it up. So, Sard, it's up to you. Charlie Curnow, his break-even is a 1. He's probably one like Tom Lynn, who you will be able to trade for a top-tier primo forward.
Yep.
Jack Carroll, like I said, I said minus 81 before. It's minus 82, but his job security is very scary.
Yep.
Paddy Cripps 50, so I'm glad I got him in now. I wasn't paying 650k next week. Sam Doherty 122 could get that, might not. It should be around there, but. And then Sam Walsh, 129. I'm not going to back him in to get that. Yep, I reckon he tons up, but not 129 plus.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's it.
That is all.
Awesome. So one thing, the Melbourne game, I forgot to say, Max Gawn, as I said, some sort of knee injury, but he's playing. At the moment, he scored 964 points for the season. And from round 6 to round 8, he's had 72% time in the ruck and 28% of time in the forward line. Now, with a possible knee niggle, he might spend a few games more forward, which means he could, and this is a bit of a stretch, but he could get some DPP status if the next few rounds he plays majority forward because of that knee niggle. So he's 7% off, which is a lot, but he's still close enough where it's a chance. And if he does get DPP, that would mean he would be the number 1 ranked forward. So
here's the question: if he gets DPP, would you get him as a forward or would you just have him as a ruck?
I'd get him as a forward.
Yeah, because you got Bruce, Witts, Darcy,
yeah,
who are all killing it as ruckman.
So what I would do, I have English. So for me, English would be ruck. Well, actually, it wouldn't matter. English can go forward, Gaul can go ruck. Doesn't really matter. So one of those would be in the ruck spot. In my R2, once Bruce is out of money, I'm probably going to go him up to Sean Darcy. So it'll either be Darcy and English or Vaughan and Darcy to finish off my squad. And the other one will be in the forward line. So that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that in. So he's close enough where it could be a chance. So just keep an eye on that. And as I said before, with Bond, we will keep you guys updated as soon as we know. Got anything to add, Jack, from this podcast, or shall we say
No.
goodbye to the beautiful humans?
We say goodbye for now, but not forever.
That sounds like a great idea. So that'll do us for tonight's podcast. As always, is there anyone you want to know their break-evens? Possibly people you're trying to trade in, or people you're thinking about trading out? Any thoughts? Let us know in the YouTube comments or on Twitter. And don't forget, Trade Talk Tuesdays. Give us and let us know your thoughts, your trade thoughts, your opinions, and just be there. Just let's try and help everyone out, because it can be a tough game. So that's also on Twitter at Breakevens Pod. And don't forget in the YouTube comments below. So thank you all again for your support and for listening and watching on Apple Podcasts and on the YouTubes. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter, as I said, Breakevens Pod, and YouTube comments, the Breakevens. Good luck to everybody for round 9. And on that note, as always, until next week, and
Yeah.
goodbye.